Cat, and this tutorial is how to make this sparkly macrame bracelet. It's sparkly because instead of using the center strings, you're using ball chain, and I show you how to make this loop at this end and attach a lobster clasp on this end. And it's really cute. When it moves around, it catches the light and it shimmers a little bit, and it gives it that little something extra. For this, you're going to need some tape, scissors, waxed knotting thread or Chinese knotting thread, glue, pliers, ball chain, a lobster clasp, and for this I'm using 2 different sizes of jump rings. First, you'll need to cut about 65 to 70 inches of the lace that you're going to be working with. Once you've cut your lace, you can set that aside. And next you'll need to measure your ball chain. Now this one that I have it looks like it's been hammered a little bit, so it's almost faceted and it reflects a lot of light, but you can use any kind of ball chain that you want. Now for this, you're going to need to measure about twice the circumference of your wrist and then add an additional inch to that measurement. So that's about twice my wrist. I'm going to add about another inch. I only have a tiny bit to trim up on this, but you can just cut right through this with some regular scissors. Preferably scissors that you don't care too much about. Next, you'll need to grab the 2 ends of your string, cross them over as if you're starting to tie a knot, then grab those ends and run your finger down the whole length of that, and where it ends up, you're going to have this little knot that you've started, and that's going to be in the center of your string. So you've got that little loop. Now grab your ball chain, put that through the loop, and you're going to tighten that little loop around your ball chain. Pull it tight. Now you're weaving this the same way I weave a lot of my bracelets, so any of the regular macrame bracelets are going to be the exact same type of weave, except instead of center strings you're going to have this ball chain. So you've pulled that tight. Now one of the strings is going to be higher up than the other. If you were to lay it straight, you'd see this one's kind of pointing up and this one's pointing down. So whichever one is pointing up is going to be the one that you cross over first. And this part we have to do before we clip it into the board. Now you're going to take the end of the other string, put it over this part of the string, underneath the center strings, which are the ball chain, and then up through that loop again. And this part gets a little bit goofy since nothing is secured yet. Try and get that flat. And I'm just going to pull that tight. So you've got those 2 little balls from the ball chain peeking through. Now on this side, you're going to do the exact same thing, kind of in a mirror image. You're going to lay this one over, kind of like you made the P on this side. You're going to kind of make a Q on this side, and then take the end of this string, and it's going to go underneath the 2 center strings, which are the chain, and then up through the loop. And if you haven't done the macrame bracelets first, you should probably do that before you try this, so it'll make a lot more sense. It'll be easier to get this one started. And pull that tight. And you've got that little bit of that silver peeking through. So now once you've done that a couple of times, you have some room to clip it into your clipboard. Go ahead and do that. And from there, I'm going to take a big piece of tape. I'm using packing tape on this one, And I'm just going to tape down the bottom half of my ball chain down here where you can't see it. And that holds everything really tight, makes it much easier to continue working. So again, on this side, kind of make that P, then put the string underneath the ball chain up through the loop on the P, and pull it tight. Now you don't want to pull this too tight, otherwise the ball chain is going to kind of collapse in on itself instead of having the two rows that are next to each other. So pull it just tight enough so there aren't any gaps. Then switch over to this side, make that Q.
Saben que no pierdes el reflejo de vivir nunca. Sacos en los hombros, cascabeles en los pies. Tienes lo que tienes, sabes lo que hay que saber.
And just keep going until you get about a ½ inch from the bottom.
Cerro arco iris en llamas en el cielo. Cuando ríes bajas la cabeza.
Once you've woven the entire length of the bracelet, you'll see you have these little facets that shine through. And to finish it off, just tie off this end. Make a little knot. Pull it really tight. Then I'll cut that. And I'll just dab a tiny bit of that glue on there. Kind of squish that in. So I know that knot isn't going anywhere. Then on this end where everything's woven together, take a little bit more glue and just really glue that last knot and the ball chain into place. I'm going to use 2 jump rings. I'm going to use the small one and the larger one. And most of the time, if they're thin enough metal, you can just open them with your fingers, but I prefer to open them using some pliers because it spares my fingernails a little bit. So I just twist that one open. Attach it to my lobster clasp. Close it back up. So that one's on there. And now we'll use the bigger one to attach that small jump ring to the rest of the bracelet. So it's going to go through here, through this loop of the thread, and kind of in between the ball chain. You might have to wiggle a little bit to get it through. Then attach that there. And close it back up. So now you have your lobster clasp attached to the end of this bracelet, and you have your loop on this end of the chain, and you can just hook the clasp onto that loop.